It's time to grind. We cross the line. You know the time. It's time to shine. Check it. You must be out your mind. Even your third eye is blind sometime. You seen the sign. Still cross the line. This life will throw curves and sliders. In times of trouble, we struggle, but the beast inside you must come out, or it's famine. System set up to damage you. Unless you work around the scandalous and mismanagement, I ran with it. I became more than I was supposed to, but wouldn't listen to the voices of oppressors who try to keep a brother down. Nah, I ain't having that. I'm after that cabbage black. I felt more than I succeeded at. Life lessons had a brother stressing. Nearly died at my adolescence, but I kept stepping and I kept repping black unity. Never forgot where I came from. I'm on some generational wealth. It takes one to change one. So I'm here to give you game if you game, son. Cause it's game on. It's the same song. If you ain't grinding, you won't last long. You know the story, man. I can't find a job, it's because the man. I never let another man hold me. My pops told me, son, be the best at anything you do. Protect that. Your family first, your project. I keep you out the projects. My pop's logic, but I hear him know. Now my kids got the blueprint to prove it. Maneuvering around the bullshit. That could be you too, we do this. Just believe in yourself, till wealth comes, no Gucci belt. Let's invest in self, let's digest hate, turn it to power. No protesting, that was last year. We ain't asking, fuck your stimulus, fuck your vaccine. I'm a black king, not only for blacks though. This is for those that feel left behind, can't find steps to climb. Let me testify, we got fish to fry. We don't wish to die, man. Turn the anger to love. Stop begging these fools, just take it and run on, son. We had a dream, then we woke up. We focused, take notice. We own it, till we own it. Yeah, that's right. Stand up, let's ride. Love.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Y'all miss me? I missed y'all. Well, this is the last Monday of National Women's Month. And even though we love you all year, ladies, this month belongs to you. Mothers, daughters, aunties, grandmothers, we salute you. From the Wake Your Ass Up show, we love you. It's been a long run this month, and we appreciate you. But you still gonna get these jokes, so I hope that you're ready for a little funnies. I'm gonna give it to you. All right. Thomas is 32 years old and he's still single. One day a friend asked, "Why aren't you married? Can't you find a woman who will be a good wife?" Thomas replied, "Actually, I found many women I wanted to marry. But when I bring them home to meet my parents, my mother doesn't like them." His friend thinks for a moment and says, "I've got the perfect solution. Just find a girl who's just like your mother." A few months later, they meet again, and the friend says, "Well, did you find a perfect girl? Did your mother like her?" With a frown on his face, Thomas answered, "Yeah, I found the perfect girl. She was just like my mother." "You were right. My mother liked her very much." The friend said, "Then what's the problem?" Thomas replied, "My father don't like her." Oh, shit. Y'all know y'all going to hell, all of you. All right, a woman arrived at a party. While scanning the guests, she spotted an attractive man standing alone. She approached him, smiled, and said, "Hello, my name is Carmen." "Well, that's a beautiful name," he replied. "Is it a family name?" "No," she replied. "As a matter of fact, I gave it to myself. It represents the things that I enjoy the most, cars and men. Therefore, I chose Carmen." "What's your name?" she asked. He said, "B.J. Titzengoff." Oh, shit. Where do I find this shit at? You guys gonna like this one. All right. A big city doctor visits an Indian tribe full of men. He asks, well, how do you guys relieve your sexual tension? They said, simple. Just come down to the river tomorrow and we'll show you. The next day, the doctor shows up and sees a group of men near a donkey. One man says, since you're our guest, you go first. The doctor, not wanting to go against customs, starts to kiss, then proceeds to have sex with the donkey. Then a man in the group asks, are you almost done, Doc? We need the donkey to cross the river in order to get to the tribe of women. I've been waiting all week to tell you to wake your ass up. What's up, y'all? I'm your boy Love, man. Welcome to the show. April 1st, free game. That's this Thursday. This Thursday, free game. The EP comes out, guys. It's giving you the blueprint sonically. And I hope that you get it. It's free. You're going to be on DatPiff. It's also going to be on SoundCloud. Next Monday, I'll play a song and from the EP. The intro song, actually, to the show is from the EP. So anyway, man, I excuse me. I hope you like it. And that's the cover to it right there. If you don't, fuck you. But this is the people that want to hear about the blueprint, man. So I got a little something to say to them, man. So, all right. Today in history. Y'all ready? Clinton admits marijuana use. March 29th, 1992. U.S. presidential candidate Bill Clinton states, when I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two. I didn't like it. I didn't inhale and never tried it again. In 2010, a former Oxford classmate would claim in his memoirs that Clinton didn't inhale because he preferred marijuana brownies. Oh, Clinton's slick with it. That's the same one that said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. He forgot to add he was getting a blowjob, though. All right, moving on. First electric chair execution. March 29th, 1889, William Kimmler of New York, he murders his common law wife with a hatchet, for which he was executed the following year. Now, what in the hell could she have done to this man, for this man to kill her with a hatchet? Well, obviously, it doesn't matter what she did. She didn't deserve to get killed with a hatchet. But he had to be mad as shit. Something happened. Damn, a hatchet. That's one way to go. Vietnam War, March 29th, 1973. The last U.S. prisoners of war held by communist forces in Vietnam are released, and the last U.S. troops are withdrawn from South Vietnam. That's March 29th, 1973. Here's some fun facts. Check this shit out. I went a little extra this week while I was doing my research, and I found some stupid fun facts, so I wanted to share them with you guys. Walmart has a lower acceptance rate than Harvard. I swear to God, that's what it said. I don't fuck with Walmart. I can't even go in. Hope I don't get in trouble for saying that. But I don't like Walmart. I can't do it. Harvard might be hard to get into with a 4.5% admittance rate, but try this on for size. Only 2.6% of Walmart applicants are accepted. How's that for your apples? That's crazy. All right, here's another one. Does anyone ever remember the Tootsie Pop commercial when you had the little owl and shit, and he's sitting up in a tree and he's like, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Pop? And then motherfucker going, 1, 2. You remember that shit? There is an official ruling for how many Tootsie Pop licks it takes to get to the center. Do you know? Put it in the comments if you think you know. It officially takes 364 licks to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Well, at least according to the engineering students' scientific endeavor at Purdue University, who use a perpetuatory licking machine rather than a human tongue. A licking machine. I'll leave that one alone. Okay, 364 licks is all it takes to get to the center. A U.S. town had a 3-year-old mayor. In the small town of Dorset, Minnesota, where a new mayor is picked every 2 years by drawing names out of a hat, a 3-year-old named Robert Tufts was elected mayor in 2015. His governing style was being nice and no poopy talk. In 2021, I think we can all agree that the world could use more Robert Tufts in higher office. What do you guys think? No poopy talk. All right, guys, that is wrapping it up for Today in History and also fun facts, and that's brought to you by Nuestra Reina Lingerie. Check it out. Nuestra Reina Lingerie, man, we're getting close. We're getting close. The countdown is on, man. We just picked up, for part of the team, a videographer, man. And this brother, man, he actually does film, photos, and all of that for DJ Khaled, DJ Nasty, for We The Best. We have an amazing team, man. We just had a huge Zoom meeting last week, man, just to put this thing together, and I couldn't be more happy than the team that we've put together for this, man. So just please be on the lookout. Also, ladies, if you go to our IG, Nuestra Reina Lingerie, if you can't spell the shit, it's right above the top. Which way do I go? Nuestra Reina Lingerie on IG. We are doing a survey. Now, on this survey, it's just asking questions about lingerie. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know where you're head at. We use that marketing and information to, for future purchases or different designs and things like that. If you do it, make sure you DM us that you did it with your name and shit, because we're giving out a raffle for a $50 Amazon gift card. So please make sure you do it. And your information is not being sent anywhere. We don't sell that shit. I don't get down like that. All right. Tonight, we will be talking about saving money. How many of you all have a problem with saving money? Spending money is fun, ain't it? I think that most of us have issues with saving money. Most of us do. I think that's fair to say. I think some of us has gotten better. I think also some of us say, well, I don't make enough to save. And we're going to talk about things like that. But at the end of the day, you have to save. But it is, again, is a habit. Last week we talked about habits. Most of the stuff in your life that we talk about, especially on this show, really is about changing habits. And that's considered evolving, progression. As you get older, more mature, you start to get a little smarter about how you do things. It took me years of my adult life to change bad spending habits that I had. I had to learn how to save money. My father would tell you, I was horrible. I get $1, I'd spend $1.50. And that's most of my life, shit. Until I stopped drinking and start taking life a little bit more serious, and shit like that. I'm a late bloomer, man. I started real late in life. But it was a bad habit, man. If I had the money, I had to blow it. I had to burn a hole in my pocket. And and I'm getting off track a little bit. But here's why. This is what a lot of people did, and this is what I did anyway. You get your paycheck. You know how much you have to spend out of your paycheck for your little bills or whatnot. Then the rest of the money, fools like me would say, okay, well, I can spend the rest. Shit, I don't need it. I can spend it. This is how much I got left to spend. And without thinking about saving. And before you know it, you become 30, you become 40, you still don't have no money saved. And there's a video later on that's going to tell you that you got to have $100,000 in the bank by the time you're 33. Now, for the late bloomers, don't worry about it. I started late. You can catch up. but it's time to double time. So you got to change your spending habits. Now, we will buy some of the dumbest shit, not only when we're young, but also as older adults. Why do we buy some of the shit that we buy? I'm guilty of it. Now, I don't buy over expensive shit, but I got a thing for shoes. And if you look in my closet, you'd be ashamed of me. But that's my thing, you know, and I think I've done a lot better in life in terms of saving and investing and getting myself ready for retirement. But I still got a thing for shoes. What's your thing? Everybody has their thing. Some people have shoes. Some people it's crack. For some of you motherfuckers, it might be crack. But whatever it is, you got to figure out a way to save. Spending more than you have can cost you. Now, spending more than you earn is the cardinal sin of personal finance. This one habit will have a trickle-down effect, causing big problems in all areas of your personal finance. For instance, if you spend more than you earn, you'll have to rely on credit to cover the rest. Now let's talk about credit. Credit is a big one. And when I say oppressed, I'm not talking about color. When I say oppressed, I'm talking about financially oppressed. When you have oppressed people that weren't taught, you know, how to save and how to do certain things in their life, they don't understand about credit. Credit plays a very important role in saving money and progressing in life. It's very important. I think it's important to have credit. Now, for me, that's another thing. Shit, I didn't know nothing about no credit and didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about no credit. I didn't know how it really affected me. Now, we're going to talk about what's more important, spending cash, spending credit, and we're going to do all of that. But you definitely don't want to get to a point where you're relying on your credit cards to survive. Because if you get to the point where you're relying on your credit cards to survive, then you're going to be paying interest on that money. So in the long term, you're spending more money. Credit cards can be an emergency thing. I think credit cards needs to be used periodically so you can increase credit scores, and we're going to talk about that. But if you run out of money, you can't afford to buy nothing else. Stop fucking spending. You can't afford it. You don't pull out your credit card and buy shit thinking you got the fucking money growing trees. It's a credit card. You got to pay that shit back, and it will fuck up your credit. You'll never own anything. I'll tell you about it. 4 years ago, my credit score was fucking 400 and something because I didn't give a shit. Now my shit's up there now because I took advantage of learning and shit like that, and I got it where I need to get it. Now, chief among bad spending habits is carrying too much debt. Although some level of debt is to be expected, carrying too much debt can result in dire outcomes. For example, accruing some debt at an early age can encourage wealth building, but too much debt later in life can increase financial insecurity. It's a what do they call that shit? A teeter-tot. Excuse me. You have to balance it. You can manipulate your credit score by utilizing your credit cards, as long as you get them paid off before the interest starts to hit. And that's the smart thing you guys have to do. You should never have more than 30% of your credit capability, the amount of credit. You should never have more than 30% on your credit cards because that'll hurt your credit. So it should always be below 30%. Let's say if you have $10,000 worth of credit, then you should never owe more than $3,000 on your credit cards. And there is a such thing as minimum payment, but fuck that. That minimum payment will have your ass paying that shit for the rest of your fucking life. So that's where you got to really train yourself. When I first started getting credit cards, because when my scores start to go up, my fucking Credit Karma, you qualify for this one. Well, oh shit, let me get one. Ooh, you qualify for this. Before I knew it, I had 8 fucking credit cards, and I spent up a bunch of money and shit, and it took me a year and a half to get my credit back in check. But once I done that, I paid that shit off, and I'll use it for, now like I say, I want to go on a trip. I'll put that on the credit card or some shit, and then I'll pay it off. But I'll pay that shit right off. So you use it to your benefit. But the old saying goes, if you don't have it, you can't afford it. Who is it? Jay-Z said, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. Now, if you got expensive taste, then you better fucking earn some more money. You can't be broke with expensive taste and think that your credit's gonna be good. So we're gonna talk about that. Some of y'all, let's talk about these stimmy checks, stimulus checks. Some of y'all took your stimulus check and act like it's goddamn income tax check. Y'all just spending money out there, just blowing money. You know what that means? Some of y'all ass didn't need that stimmy check, but who am I to judge? Take the money, put that shit in the bank, save it if you can. If you do not have a savings account, if you don't have money saved up, then why in the fuck are you spending your stimulus check? It makes no sense. Put it in the bank, because trust me, when your ass is 60-something years old eating cat food, you're going to wish that you saved some money. Who's going to take care of you? Don't nobody want your old crusty ass in there. I told my son, I got one son. I said, son, when I get old, you going to wipe my ass when I get old and sick? He's like, I don't know. He don't want to wipe my ass when I get old. So I got to make sure that I'm not eating cat food. So I got to have some money put away for when I retire. Now, here's a few ways for you to start saving. Make sure you pay attention to it, please. Jump to what interests you the most and where you want to start. Number one, understand your spending triggers. Everyone has a spending trigger. Spending money sometimes can make you itch. You could be out at the store and you just window shop and I'm not going to buy shit. Then you come home with $200-300 worth of shit. What is your trigger? Some of y'all don't need to go to the fucking store, just leave it alone. But if you got a spending trigger, when your palms start sweating and shit, and you see some shit, and you start doing math in your head, trying to, make excuses to yourself how you can afford this shit, that is what's called a spending trigger. You have to be mindful of that. Track your spending. And this is something I'm not good at. See, I'm preaching this shit, and I'm not great at all of these things, but I'm gonna tell you and be transparent about what I'm bad at. I'm bad at buying shoes, and I'm bad at going to fucking 7-Eleven every day for Red Bulls. And sometimes I try to stop. Fucking Red Bulls are 2 for $5. I go every day to 7-Eleven get fucking Red Bulls. I don't have a calculator, but 5 times 7 is 35. 35 times 52 is what? I'm spending all of this fucking money on Red Bull. But track, do you go to the convenience store every day? It might be a convenience store, but those prices are high as shit. Track it for 30 days. Track your spending just at convenience stores for 30 days and pay attention to it and see if you can save money on doing that. Trust me, you're gonna find all kind of ways where you've been spending money that you can save. Now this says, and I disagree, this says stick to cash and stop relying on credit cards. I'm 50-50 because I don't believe that you need to stick to cash. Being a business owner, I can't stick to cash. I need to be able to track everything that I spend because most of the things I do in my life are a write-off for my companies. So I can't do that. Now, relying on credit cards, this is what I do. Like I told you, I'll go on a trip and do that. Or I'll see which credit card gives me cash back. I might pay for my gas on a credit card for the month, but then I'll pay it off. So I don't rely on credit cards to survive by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely don't stick to cash. I think that as you grow, if you want to be a business owner, I think sticking to cash probably is not a great idea. But what do I know? Shit, I was broke at 40, so I don't know. This says, forget about your credit cards, literally and figuratively. I think if you're trying to build credit cards are used to your benefit, it's important. I think you have to do that to increase. I was able to get my credit score up a lot in 4 years by utilizing them the right way. But there's all kind of things. If you do Credit Karma, it teaches you about that shit. Learn about it. Once you become engaged in something and you pay attention to it, you'll learn how to effectively do that shit. See, I come from an era where you put your little baby on the goddamn light bill, and a little poor kid, by the time he 18, he got a fucked up credit score. I come from that era. But But that doesn't mean you have to. Set short-term financial goals. Financial goals. Not the goal, I want to be this and I want to be that. I want to have this much in the bank by the time I'm this. Or in 6 months, I want to have saved $2,000. Whatever it is, make goals, short-term financial goals, and stick to it. If your check is $200 fucking dollars, let's make it simple. If your check is $200 and your bill is $100, that does not mean you have $100 to spend. It doesn't. How much of that other 100 can you save? Okay, let's say I want to save $50 of it. Okay, put that 50 away. You know how many times $50 over 52 weeks, you know how much money you have? Just save it. Because here's the thing. If some of us, whether our check is $300 or $450, it doesn't matter. And what I mean by that is because what most of us, we think that extra money we have, we spend anyway. If you can cut out a little bit of that luxury spending, you can get the same shit done with the $300 plus save money. We think that we have more money than we have, so we spend it. And that's where you need to change that habit. Learn how to budget your money. There's all kind of ways, there are all kind of things out there in systems that'll teach you guys how to budget your fucking money. If you have online banking, they have even little pie charts and shit. And you can fill in your budgets and stick to the shit. The shit's not that hard. You just got to pay attention to it. And give every dollar a job. Every fucking dollar that you make should have a job. And what that means is it's either going to be for bills, investments, into saving, into your OnlyFans account where you spending $3 a month to see these chicks. Whatever the fuck it is, your strip bill, whatever it is. Make sure that everything has a job. All right? Now, here's 9 good money habits that you can form. All right? I'm not going to talk you to death, but you need to learn. Shit, most of us are broke for no reason. We broke for no fucking reason. You don't have to be broke. I don't give a fuck how much money you make. You don't have to be broke. Okay? I don't give a damn. My grandmother, Pop to tell you, my grandmother didn't make a lot of money at all. She did not make a lot of money at all. As a kid, I didn't realize that. As an adult, I realized my grandmother didn't make a lot. But my grandmother always had some fucking money. And I don't care if it was $1, $2, $5, $10. She always had that little change person shit, and she would always come out with something. She always had it. Because she would probably, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure, she'd probably have envelopes everywhere where she'll put $1 here, $2, $5, and by the end of the fucking year, she'd have money. She always made sure we had Christmas. She always made sure we had shit that we needed. And I know that woman didn't make a lot of money. Bless her heart, and rest in peace, Granny, I love you. But she knew how to do it. And that's what we have to do. Some of you guys make enough money to where you can have a sizable bank account at the end of the year, but you just have bad spending habits. So here's some good money habits that you can form. Auto transfer money into savings. Setting up automatic transfers is one of the easiest ways to save. So on my online banking, I have a couple personal accounts, not to get too deep in my shit, but what I'll do is I'll deposit my check. I never cash my check. Don't stop fucking cashing your check. You ain't in high school no more. Stop that shit. You get a whole pocket full of money. All you're going to do is spend it. Deposit that shit. And then know what you got for your bills and know what you got for your savings. So what I do is at the end of every week, before I deposit a new check, whatever is left in that account, I push off to my savings. I don't give a fuck if it's 200 or whatever it is. I'll push it off into my savings. That's one way. Or this way is saying auto transfer, to where it automatically does that shit. Plan for your purchases. You can never plan ahead for emergency type shit, but you always have to be prepared for an emergency. But plan your purchases out. This month I need to get a washer and dryer, or a washer. Next month I'm going to get the dryer. The month after that I'm going to get this. Plan. Save money with substitutions. Don't know what that means, so I'm going to move on. Pay yourself first. Here's one. This is a good one. See, we've been talking about how you shouldn't be spending money. Pay yourself. Take a percentage of what your money is. Some people say 10%, some people say 20%, but pay yourself. I think this is extremely important. While we're sitting here talking about how much you should save, you need to pay yourself. Because if you live your whole life without rewarding yourself, then why in the hell are you even working? It's important. But some of you guys reward yourself too fucking much. Where you need sirloin rewards, but your ass is taking filet mignon rewards, and you need to reward yourself accordingly, all right? Send your savings into a savings account. We talked about that. Save your bonus cash. If you get any bonuses, like a fucking STEMI check, put that shit in the bank. Income tax check, put that shit in the bank. Man, some of y'all getting back $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 in income tax and be fucking broke in a month. Put that shit in the bank. Here's my theory on this. If you haven't had it all fucking year, how in the fuck can you spend $10,000 in a month? I don't understand that shit. You figured it out without that $10,000 all year. So why now is it so important to spend it? That's where you need to think about it. It's poor spending habits. You get this lump sum of money. You out there buying fucking camel meat and shit and buying shit that you can't afford, monkeys and shit. You can't afford that shit. Don't do it. Go lean on one spending category. Pick a spending category that month and then go low on it. There's all kind of ways to save money. It starts with awareness. Put systems in place and stick to them. If you really think about it, most of us buy things to impress other people or live a life that you really don't live. Think about that. When you go buy yourself a new suit and all of this, who are you buying it for? Really think about it. I know a lot of people say, I do that shit for me. And for some things, I can agree with you. But for the most part, we are too busy trying to impress the next motherfucker. And let me tell you something. Most of these people you see with the new cars and all this other shit, them motherfuckers is broke as fuck because they paying a car they can't afford. Insurance probably high as shit. Or they trying to keep up with a hot, sexy woman and shit and can't afford her. You know what I'm saying? Some of these women are expensive. So you're trying to keep up with somebody that is already in financial ruin. They're just doing a good job of making it look good on the outside. You guys got to keep that in mind too. Who are you doing it for? Now I can sit up here and say, well, who am I buying these tennis shoes for? I'm buying them for me. But then I can also say, well, I'm trying to look good. Well, who are you trying to look good for, Larry? So you can paint me in a corner with that same thing. Me perception in certain things are important to me. Perceptions are important to me because of business. Okay. I can't go into a business meeting looking shabby as fuck. So there's certain things I need to do because that perception is important in order for me to make some business moves. Okay, I get that. But if you out there buying you a brand new Lincoln Continental, you can't afford that shit just because Roger next door got one. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. You cannot do that. There is nothing wrong with rewarding yourself, but when the rewards are bigger than your budget, can you handle it? You're going to get in trouble quick. How much money should you have left after paying the bills? Now let's get into this education real quick. Now this is just the internet suggestion. There's different kind of theories. We went over this before. It's hard to define how much should be left over each month after paying all your personal finances, as they are different for everyone. But to generalize it, the 50-20-30 rule is applicable for most of us. According to this rule, up to 50% of your income goes to fixed spending. That's your bills, that's your rent or your mortgage, fixed spending, car insurance and shit. Okay, boom. And let's talk about fixed spending. A lot of you guys don't count fucking gas and shit as fixed spending. There's certain things, food. A lot of you guys don't even put food in the fucking budget. You got to put food in the budget. That's fixed. You need to figure out how much money you need to spend on your budget, but it's fixed. So a lot of times when you do your math, you got your bills and you got your rent and you got all this other shit, and you forget about food, and you motherfuckers at the end of the week trying to figure out whether you should buy a box of Newports or buy a chicken sandwich. So you got to put that shit into your plan, all right? So 50, 20, 30. 50% of your income goes to fixed spending. 20% will go to savings. So according to this, 20% of your money should go to savings. The other 30% can go to disposable. Now, if you're a late bloomer like I am, you have to be more aggressive than that. Okay? First, we got to figure out a way to make more money, but at the end of the day, 50% of your income, if we can get that 50% down to about 30%, 20 to 30%, then that's good. That means you either need to move to the projects or you need to bring more money in, okay? Ideally, it's bring more money in. Try to push that 50% down to 20, 30. This is real talk. Listen to me. All right, now, take the rest of your, that 20 on the savings. Try to get it up to 40%. If you can get your savings up to 40% of your check, then you're going to be able to catch up quick. Hey, Miss Priss, I see you on there. Look, hey, Miss Priss is on there too. She does taxes. Make sure you hit her up. She has a business. I admire her. She's doing her thing. Now, then the rest, if you want to go 30%, me personally, I think 30% is too much for disposable income. If you can make that 10, 15%, no more than 20%. The old rule of thumb is reward yourself with 10%, what you got. But you got to save at least 40, man. I would suggest that. If you can save 40% of your income, then you're going to be able to really move that savings in the right direction. And, if you own your own LLC, if you own your own S Corp, then you can start getting into a 401k for your business. Now you're talking about retirement. I started doing mine a few years ago, and I'm up 60%. So basically, for those that don't know what that is 401k is kind of something for your retirement, where if you own a business, you can match yourself. You are the business, you're also the employee. So you can actually put up to, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but you can put up to $17,000, $18,000 a year into your 401k. Now, in just a few years, I'm up 60%. So what they do is they take that money and they put it in the stock market. Don't be afraid of the stock market. Some people tell you it's going to crash. It goes up and down, but historically, it has always gone up. And I would suggest that you look into that because now your money's growing for you. Your money's not doing shit for you sitting in a savings account unless you got a whole lot of it. You're not getting any interest on it. So you might want to be a little bit aggressive, especially if you're older like me. You want to be a little bit more aggressive with that money and try to make that money make you some more money. All right? Now, saving money and being more responsible is key. And to be honest, it should be a good practice before you start making a lot of money. And what I mean by that is some of y'all motherfuckers don't need money right now. You got to figure out better habits. Like I said, some of y'all get a check and go buy camel meat because you think you flossing and flexing on people. You have to have good habits in place. Once you start making a lot of money, or making a lot more than what you normally, make it, and you're progressing in life and you're evolving, that's when these habits really have to kick in. Because sometimes when we're poverty level or whatever, we don't have a lot of money to spend and things like that. So when we do get, a nice little chunk of change, we go rabbit and shit and wants to spend craziness. The more money you have, the better discipline you guys are going to have to be in order to save that shit. When I first really started making money, I was still drinking. And you find me in a fucking club. I done rented a fucking limousine and shit with a bottle of liquor. And it was horrible. I was making a hell of a lot more money, and I was still living check to check. So again, you got to have good habits going into it once you start making more money. The other side to this story is making more money, which goes back to creating more revenue streams. Remember, we talked about the revenue streams. You guys have to have more than one. I'm not saying you got to have 10 jobs. What I'm saying is you have to have multiple revenue streams. That 401k, that's an investment to your future, but it's a revenue stream that you'll be able to draw from when your ass is old enough so you ain't eating cat food or living in a hospital bed in your kid's living room and shit. You know how we do, right? So you don't want to do that, right? Okay. So you want to make sure that you're doing different things that are generating money. I don't care if it's a small business. If you want to, It don't matter. Shit, you make fucking macrame. It don't matter. But whatever you got to do where you can make a little bit here, a little bit of there, have those financial streams coming in. Because part of the blueprint is not only learning how to manage the money that you're making, but it's how do I make more? How can I hustle? How can I really get out here and fucking hustle? Miss Pris will hustle. I've been doing it for years. How do I get out here and hustle and make more revenue streams? I'm telling you, man, this life ain't no fucking joke. Y'all can sit and laugh and joke all you want to, but when that shit come on your ass and you don't have shit, it's a horrible feeling. And if you got children, you got to put it in overdrive. Because now you working for yourself, you working for them, and you working for their kids. So please understand that. Life is a board game. But when it's played correctly, you can change your legacy and the legacy of your bloodline. See, the blueprint is about your bloodline. It's about how do we overcome 7,000 years of being lied to on what's more important financially. We talked about the landowners and the oxen and all that shit. Okay. So the divide between rich and poor is the worst it's been since the 70s, right? Okay. Because a computer can replace you at work. So are you really needed? So who's making all the money? Okay. So now we have to start educating ourselves, educating our children, building up generational wealth so you can set them up for something, right? And then it sets their kids up for something. So maybe in 2 or 3 generations, we back to snuff and we back where we need to be. But it starts right now. So you think about all this shit I'm talking about, you don't have time to sit on the couch no more. I told you, there is no time to sit on the fucking couch because you got to get into it and you got to make it happen. And don't think it's fucking too late. I know the video I'm about to play, it talks about having a certain amount of money by the time you're 33. It's cool. If you young, follow that plan. But if you older, don't think it's too late, but you just got to be unconscious with the way your work ethic is. You just got to catch up, that's all. With all of those variables that goes into living and leading a successful life, you now see how important it is to stay engaged in your personal development. It's important that you understand that life is not a joke. It's not a joke. You have to manage it just like any other business. Your life is your business, and you have to manage it accordingly. We have a video. It's Kevin O'Leary. You guys know him from Shark Tank. Short video, but I want to play it for you. And I think it's important. And again, change the numbers. He's talking about a certain number, but change the numbers. But let's give it a shot. Check it out.
You know, it's really tough to peg numbers and nail them to the cent. But here's one for you to think about. By the time you hit 33 years old, you should have $100,000 saved somewhere. Make that your goal. 33, 100,000. You can do it. I'll tell you how. You save 20% of your paycheck, and you let the market grow at 5 to 7% a year. You can get to $100,000. Everybody says, oh, that's impossible. I can't do that. Yes, you can. If you don't have it by 33, I'll give you to 35. I'll give you 24 extra months. That's why they call me Mr. Wonderful. Why 33? 33 is the tipping point. It's the point in your life when you really have to focus on saving money. If you haven't saved anything by the time you're 33, you're way behind the 8 ball. Your goal should be to try and amass at least $500,000. So you start to chop up the decades you're going to work. By 33, you better have 100K if you're going to get the other 400 by the time you're 60. Think about that.
Yo, I know that sounds intimidating. You might say that that can't be you. And if you're saying that, I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. That is bullshit. And that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that you are incapable of being a millionaire. They want you to believe that. Because guess what? Rich people need poor people. They need poor people. Right? That's what makes them more money. They love it when you get your stimulus check and you go out there and blow the whole thing on bullshit. They love it when you buy camel meat. Trust me when I tell you, they love that shit. Okay? Generation and generation and generation, for thousands of years, we have been bred that we can't do shit and that we can't be shit. And that I'm here to tell you guys, that's all bullshit. You can be whatever the fuck you want to. You just got to change habits. We have a wonderful tool in today's society, and it's called Google. Any fucking thing you want to learn how to do, you can Google that shit, and you can learn. Trust me. If you don't know how to save money, everything I just did on this show, other than personal experience, I went on fucking Google some of those numbers. Watch videos, learn. I'm not anti-motivational speaker, but I don't listen to that shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to get down to brass tacks. Don't suit me up with a whole bunch of bullshit and charge me $100 for listening to your shit. But if you want real information, just go on Google. It'll tell you. But you got to be motivated. You got to wake your ass up. All right? So listen, until next week, because we only got a couple of more shows before the end of season 2. But until next week, populate some positive energy on the population, because we need that shit. We need some positive vibes out there, y'all, and I'm sending them to you. Remember, Thursday, April 1st, my shit's dropping, free game. The EP is talking about the blueprint and all of that. And much negative people to the negative section. Why? Fuck them. We don't need them. Until next week, love each other, y'all. I'm out. Bless.
Y'all know that time, it's time to rise, it's time to grind. We cross the line, you know the time, it's time to shine. Check it, you must be out your mind. Even your third eye is blind sometime. You seen the sign, still cross the line. This life will throw curves and sliders. In times of trouble, we struggle, but the beast inside you must come out, or it's famine. System set up to damage you. Unless you work around the scandalous and mismanagement. I ran with it. I became more than I was supposed to, but wouldn't listen to the voices of oppressors who try to keep a brother down. Nah, I ain't having that. I'm after that cabbage black. I felt more than I succeeded at. Life lessons had a brother stressing. Nearly died at my adolescence, but I kept stepping and I kept repping black unity. Never forgot where I came from. I'm on some generational wealth. It